Have you ever wondered who really runs the world? It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a business model, invented over 150 years ago by one man. A man who, in just 10 years, went from owning 4% of America's oil to owning 90%. By 1904, he controlled 91% of oil production and 85% of sales. He created the blueprint for every monopoly that exists today. His name was John D. Rockefeller, and the system he built? It didn't die when his company Standard Oil was broken up. It evolved. It spread. And it controls your life right now. The gasoline you pump, the drugs you buy, the tech platforms you use, the food you eat, the banks you borrow from, every single one uses the Rockefeller playbook. Vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, capturing regulators. Using tax-exempt foundations to shape policy. Dominating the market until competition is impossible. Rockefeller didn't just build an oil empire. He built the architecture of modern corporate control. You can't escape it because the system isn't a single company. The system is the asterisk method asterisk. And that method has been copied by every dominant corporation for a century and a half. Amazon uses it. Google uses it. Pfizer uses it. They all learn from the same blueprint. Control the supply chain from top to bottom, eliminate all competitors side to side, capture the regulators, and use philanthropy to buy legitimacy. And if the government finally breaks you up, make sure the pieces you're left with are worth more than the whole. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how Rockefeller built this system. How he became the richest man in modern history. How the breakup of his company made him even richer, and why, over a century later, you are still living inside his design. Understanding this isn't just academic, it's survival. The system is designed to extract wealth from you and funnel it upward. And once you see how it works, you will see it everywhere. Let's go back to the mid-19th century. Picture an America lit not by electricity, but by flickering kerosene lamps, whale oil, and candles. Streets were dim, homes were shadowed. Industry needed light to function after sunset. Then, in 1859, oil was discovered in Titusville, Pennsylvania. It wasn't seen as the foundation of the future. It was pure chaos. Boom towns erupted overnight. Men chasing black gold with pickaxes and dreams. The air was thick with the smell of crude oil, fires burned as wells overflowed, and fortunes were made and lost in a matter of days. Amid this frenzy stood a young bookkeeper from Cleveland named John Davidson Rockefeller. He was calm, calculating, disciplined. He watched the chaos and understood something everyone else ignored. Drilling for oil was a gamble. But refining it, turning crude into useful kerosene, was stable, controllable, and scalable. While others gambled on striking it rich, he built his business on certainty. He believed the real power wasn't in asterisk finding asterisk oil. It was in controlling what oil asterisk became asterisk. Rockefeller was a product of two very different parents. His father, William Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman and a con artist who sold fake cancer cures. He would disappear for months and return with cash earned through pure manipulation. His mother, Elisa, was the exact opposite, deeply religious, devout, frugal, and stern. She believed discipline was sacred. From his father, Rockefeller learned ruthlessness and deception. From his mother, he learned duty and a sense of moral conviction. To the outside world, these traits seemed like contradictions. But inside Rockefeller, they fused into something formidable. A man who would destroy his rivals without hesitation, yet sincerely believed that monopoly was a form of divine order. He attended church, donated to charity, and then financially crushed his competitors without blinking. He didn't see it as evil. He believed competition created waste, and a single, unified company created efficiency. He saw himself not as a villain, but as an instrument of progress. By 1863, at just 24 years old, Rockefeller invested in his first refinery. His obsessive attention to cost, his sharp negotiation skills, and his logistical genius transformed it into the largest refinery in Cleveland within 2 years. But for Rockefeller, being the biggest wasn't enough. He wanted to own it all. At the time, Cleveland had nearly 30 refineries, each fighting for survival. Rockefeller studied the market like a general studies a battlefield. He bought barrel factories because he didn't want to pay others for barrels. He purchased forests to make the wooden staves for those barrels, and iron mines for the metal hoops that held them together. He bought pipelines, tank cars, and warehouses. Each acquisition removed one more dependency, lowering his internal costs step by step. Where his competitors paid 25 cents for a barrel, Rockefeller paid 15. Where others begged railroads for transport, Rockefeller negotiated secret rebates that returned money to him for every barrel he shipped. In some cases, railroads even paid *him* for the privilege of carrying his oil, while charging his rivals full price. He wasn't just building a business. He was building a system, a machine designed to starve the competition. By 1870, when he officially formed the Standard Oil Company of Ohio, he was already a major force. But to him, controlling just 4% of the national market was only the beginning. Then came the turning point. A moment in 1872 that would change American industrial history forever, known as the Cleveland Massacre. Rockefeller approached every refinery owner in the city with a simple, brutal deal. Join Standard Oil and become rich, or resist and be broken. Many sold out, becoming millionaires overnight, grateful for the offer. Those who refused faced a ruthless price war. Rockefeller would drop the price of kerosene so low that his competitors bled money with every sale, unable to survive. Suppliers, railroads, and distributors, all tied to Rockefeller, squeezed the rebels economically. One by one, they collapsed. Within just 3 months, Rockefeller controlled 25 of the 26 refineries in Cleveland. He didn't just defeat them, he absorbed them. The model was born, buy or bleed. This pattern spread across America like a shadow stretching from coast to coast. Throughout the 1870s, Standard Oil devoured refinery after refinery. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore. Competitors tried to fight back with lawsuits, protests, and appeals to the government, but Standard Oil had deeper pockets, better lawyers, and absolute control over transportation. Every barrel of oil had to move through Rockefeller's ecosystem. By 1879, Standard Oil commanded an astonishing 90% of U.S. refining. Imagine a world where 9 out of every 10 gallons of fuel for every lamp, every factory, every ship depended on a single corporation. Prices for consumers actually fell, not out of kindness but as a weapon to crush any remaining rivals. Once control was absolute, the profits soared. Rockefeller had achieved a level of economic dominance rarely seen in human history. But absolute power breeds powerful enemies. Journalists, politicians, and the public began to see Rockefeller not as a captain of industry, but as a monstrous octopus with tentacles wrapped around the entire nation. The Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 was written with Standard Oil directly in mind, but Rockefeller was always one step ahead. Back in 1882, he had already created the Standard Oil Trust, a revolutionary legal structure that placed dozens of seemingly independent companies under one centralized board of directors. This invention became the foundation for modern corporations and holding companies. Alphabet, Amazon, Meta. Berkshire Hathaway, every one of them echoes Rockefeller's design of a central entity controlling a vast web of subsidiaries. He turned the law from a boundary into a tool. When individual states tried to restrict Standard Oil, he simply moved ownership across jurisdictions. When the laws changed, he adapted faster than lawmakers could even think. By 1904, Standard Oil reached its absolute zenith, 91% of refining, 85% of final sales. Rockefeller's personal fortune reached a level that, in today's money, would be over $400 billion, a scale of wealth that is almost impossible to imagine. Finally, in 1911, after decades of public outcry and legal battles, the Supreme Court ordered Standard Oil to be broken up into 34 separate companies. Newspapers declared victory. The monster was slain. Competition had returned. And what did Rockefeller do? He smiled, because the breakup made him even richer. He retained shares in all 34 of the new companies: Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, Amoco, and others. As these new companies began to compete with each other, their combined value skyrocketed and Rockefeller's personal wealth doubled. He had won. He proved that even when the system is broken apart, the man who designed it, who still owns the pieces, remains in control. The octopus was gone, but its DNA was now everywhere, ready to replicate, and it did. The model of vertical and horizontal dominance, of regulatory capture and PR spin, is the operating system of the 21st century. It's the reason a handful of companies control what you see, what you buy, and even what you think. This is the legacy of John D. Rockefeller, not an oil company, but an idea. A blueprint for power that has outlived its creator by more than a century. We are all living in the house that John built. Thank you for watching. If you want to understand more about the systems that shape our world, make sure to subscribe.